CEV European title, but they are the Olympic champions, they are the world champions, they are the back-to-back World Tour Finals champions. They just won the Elite 16 in Doha, and here they are right back in the finals. Oh, and Simon, they're also just magnificent men. The best sports, the best ambassadors for this sport. They're legends.
Away we go with the men's gold medal final here in Tepic, Mexico. In the yellow, it's the number 2 seeds from Sweden unloading straight up and nearly taking Christian Sorum's head off. In the blue then, the Volley Vikings, the number 1 seeds, multiple title winners and major title holders. Anders Mol and Christian Sorum looking to once again hold off the challenge of their Scandinavian rivals. It's Sweden v Norway for the gold. Wow, solid start from both teams and already pulling out the big shots.
Solid start for Jonathan Hellvig. Twice in a row, he gets a touch on the block. That first point, we saw David Åhman showing off one of his most underrated skills, that soft block setting, and there's Hellvig again, making it a problem for Sorum to get over, and there's Andy Mol. Humongous swing.
There's the first jump set of the day. Picked up nicely by Christian Sorum and then goes with that deceptive high hand swing. 2-1 Norway.
I think that every Sweden match should just be viewed exclusively from this back camera angle so you can see the amount of lateral movement that Anders Mol is going to have to do, and he did that masterfully. Hung there with David Åhman. Once he saw Åhman bring that left hand up to set, shuffled all the way over. Good block to give Sorum the room to dig.
This time, not the jump set, but the option hit. And along with Anders Mol's blocking, I put David Åhman's option hitting in my top 10 of beach volleyball wonders of the world.
It's unbelievable to watch, because every now and then a couple players will get hot with the option, but for David Åhman to do this for years in events and matches on end, it's spectacular.
Simon Golding and our volleyball world expert analyst Travis Muhert are with you for this men's gold medal final. And both teams dialed in right from the off. We told you it was going to be a classic. We expect nothing but. Good serve from Mol. Nicely picked off from Mol. An immediate adjustment there from Anders Mol to get hands on that. And then follows it up with a clubbing blow cross court, and these hits echoing around this arena.
Clubbing is the word that I probably couldn't have thought of myself, Simon, and it's just perfect because you could just hear the echo of that swing. And I know that Andy Mol and Christian Sorum, they had a lot of health issues last year, had to forfeit out of about 3 tournaments, and they look so healthy.
Good work. Ball might have been going wide. Jonathan Hellvig decided to pass it, but gets the put away. And we go to our first end switch. Multiples of 7. Remember, we change ends in this indoor arena on the way to our contest to 21 points in this opening set. And it started well for both teams.
And there you had a really nice look at the distinctive blocking style of Anders Mol, unparalleled by anyone who's ever played the game. He just goes straight up and then moves his hands laterally into the angle. Hellvig with a huge lateral movement of his own on that block. Hellvig learned a little something from Anders Mol, going way outside of his body, but you see these blockers that where they're lined up has nothing to do with where they're going to end up blocking.
Again, funnels the ball down onto David Åhman, and that's a nice comeback from the Swedish pair. 2 very good points in a row from Sweden.
And David Åhman's step close is so powerful, where he has such a unique approach in that he just kind of trots and jogs in, and then boom, he makes this big explosive step close.
And a lovely comeback swing from Christian Sorum. Again, one of the most deceptive hitters on the beach.
And Sorum does such an excellent job of making every single approach look the same. Similar to Clemens Wickler, and now he does it where he will show you nothing about what he's doing in his approach, and then at the last second he makes his choice of where he's attacking.
Just out from Jonathan Hellvig. Of the two players, it's tended to be Hellvig that gets a lot of the service attention, but in La Paz, when they finished in 9th place, Laniel and Barcero, the team that beat them, really did pick on David Åhman in that contest and managed to grind him down. But the Swedish pair have bounced back really well here in Tepic to find their way through to this championship final, and once again give us a final to look forward to.
And it's a testament to their maturity, even at their youth, in that they had a rough tournament in La Paz relative to them, had a rough start to this, got swept by Germany right off the bat, and here they are back in the finals.
Oh, wow. Well, there we go. Norway out-Swedening Sweden.
And you see the wrinkles being added to Norway's offense, but they didn't need any. They were already the kings of the jungle, of the beach volleyball jungle, and then they said, all right, well, we'll add some jump sets, we'll add some poke sets, we'll add some shoot sets, and here they are they're just continuing to evolve and evolve and evolve some more, because you know the rest of the world is trying to adapt to them, but they're adapting faster.
Norway nudge ahead again, but Mol gets that all wrong. And we go to our next side switch with the scores even.
After Norway won in Doha, I was chatting with Anders, and I said, you know, you're making it really tough for me covering this sport, because I've had to get really creative in writing about you guys. There's only so many ways you can write Norway wins a gold medal. And he says, well, we're just trying to keep you sharp.
Something tells me they enjoy this challenge. I think they've come into this season with a fresh approach, because last year it was clear they were going to be tested. It was clear there were new kids on the block from several different nations, and Norway have responded quite brilliantly at the start of this year. Now, working off the back of a service error. Mol puts this in, gets a bit of movement on it, and there's that quite delightful option swing from Åhman.
And Anders is doing an excellent job of decision-making, where every time that Åhman has set Hellvig, Anders has made the right choice in going and blocking Hellvig. Every time Åhman's optioned, he's made the right choice in trying to block Åhman. So Anders has picked up on something, the way that David Åhman approaches that either jump set or swing.
Beautiful. Just unbelievable handling, and we talk about the way Sweden play this game now. We talk about them tearing up the rule book and coming up with a completely different approach, but it can't happen, Travis, without the skills.
And that's the thing, is that there are a lot of old school types that look at this game and they think that something must be being illegal, but you look at it and their hands are perfectly clean every time. They're fast enough where it's not a lift, it's not a double, it's just unbelievable, unprecedented beach volleyball.
Whipped out of play by Christian Sorum. He thought he'd managed to get a piece of the Hellvig block there, but it's wide of the block, wide of the court. Sweden still a 2-point advantage. Nice touch again from Hellvig. Well, they're having to work very hard for their points at the moment here, Norway, and Sweden have settled into this final very nicely.
And Sorum is having a lot of problems getting his shots over Hellvig. We haven't seen Sorum hit a clean shot. The only clean kills that he's managed to put down have been the swings in front of Åhman. So Hellvig's doing a really nice job making Sorum go extra high on those line shots.
That one just dropped on him there. He just couldn't quite get his arm through that. He had a real problem in La Paz getting that option hit into court. He had problems at the start of this tournament against Ehlers and Victor. He missed a lot of balls on the trot, Åhman, but has recovered nicely. But occasionally, when you're playing on the edge like this, those errors will come. But, as with most elite players, they rarely make two in a row.
And just the confidence from David Åhman. He misses one in the finals against the best team in the world. That's where a lot of players might just get a bit timid and say, you know what, I will set my world-class partner. And Åhman, he does just the opposite. He just atones immediately, hits a perfect option. And look at that run. I mean, there's just no room being given between Norway and Sweden.
First technical timeout arrives in the opening set, and it's a breathless 21 points. Well, during the course of the men's draw championship matches today, we've seen all sorts of different shapes and sizes. There's still room in the modern game for the 6'11" blocker, as long as they're as skillful as Neil Zeller's. But there's definitely a move, Travis, towards 6'4", light of frame, springy of heel.
And what's so funny, Simon, is that when Triborn and Kame Shock decided to team up, the word in the United States was, well, how is anyone in the U.S. supposed to win medals? Because they're just too small. And I said, well, let's take a look at the top 10 teams in the world. And you have about 6 or 7 teams with blockers 6'6" and below. And so you're absolutely right. The world got bigger and bigger and bigger, and now it's getting faster and faster and faster and more dynamic.
Lovely. Not the straight down hit, but a very nicely fashioned finesse shot out to the line for 12-11. And I have to say, Sweden here looking in very good nick, looking very confident. It's down to Norway, I think, to try and break them a little bit. Wow. Well, he took a good long look there to see if the line was open, and Hellvig's positioning was just brilliant.
And again, Christian Sorum has not had a single line kill in this match so far. Hellvig is doing a phenomenal job of sealing the line, be it high or low.
13-11, another 2-point lead for Sweden, and trouble here for Norway. He's got him again. And Jonathan Hellvig is putting on an absolute blocking performance at the net at the moment.
And the line, as they say in Spanish, cejado. It's closed. The line is closed, Simon.
Well, Jonathan Hellvig will probably get a bit of service traffic during the course of this game, but what a way to cover himself by putting a few blocks straight on the scoreboard. And it's Christian Sorum that is getting tested, but as we've seen in the past, he is an absolute master of getting himself out of these tricky situations. He just needs to find his angles.
And the thing with Anders and Christian that is so interesting to me is that they go to 3 an awful lot. A team that has yet to lose an entire match this year and really hardly ever loses matches at all when they're healthy. They go to 3 an astonishing amount of times, and yet they almost never lose. Since 2022, they're 21-4 in 3-set matches. They've gone to 3 6 times this year already in 10 matches, haven't lost a single one. And so Anders and Christian, as we've talked about a number of times with other teams, they sort of use this first set to gather data, make their reads, and then sets 2 and 3. If they do happen to go 3, they just pounce on you.
Wow, that is some stat. Well, tried something a little different there, backed himself to beat Åhman in defence, and he nearly got it in the pocket.
And the phase of the set, especially set number 1, that Norway typically thrives, is around that 15-13, 14-14 switch. That's when Anders turns on the metaphorical jets, and that's where we begin to see them really make the adjustments.
Oh, brilliant. Just brilliant. Once a game, you will see Sweden do this. Complete open net, and David Åhman bounces it into the crowd.
I love watching these kids. I just absolutely love watching David Åhman and Jonathan Hellvig. And you can see he's still smiling, Simon.
Oh, follows it with the ace. Goodness me, and our first full 360 low 5 celebration from the Swedish pair.
Do you think they have fun playing volleyball?
It's just beautiful to watch. It is just wonderful.
Just the joy and the skill and the talent and the trailblazing nature with which they play. Any beach volleyball fan, it just has to appreciate what they're watching on both sides of the court.
At last, Christian Sorum has found his line shot.
And David Åhman is still almost all over this. And look at that press from Jonathan Hellvig. And I love that Åhman finished that play. So many defenders will do what I call the 1-2 stop, where they just take 2 steps, they know they're not getting it, and then they stop. But David Åhman just always laying out.
Superb options hit, but Sorum can't finish. Got a good piece of that and then couldn't find the sand. And Sweden still moving forwards here.
And let's talk about that beautiful transition set from Anders Mol. And it was the right decision from Sorum to try to hit that cut shot. But again, I think that was a shot altered from Jonathan Hellvig, where Sorum didn't have much room.
Just about from Anders Mol, so 3 points in it. Norway still in there and plugging away, just waiting for that opportunity. Yeah, good work from Mol. Read that nicely. Oh, what a hit. Oh, and they've managed to get it up and in play. Free ball, Norway have to go again. And that is just genius from the original Volley Vikings.
And look how hard Sweden and Norway are both making each other work. And you see the hands on the knees from Jonathan Hellvig. And that's the one reservation I have with this Sweden team, is that Hellvig, just the amount of jumps on the legs of these Swedish, they're jumping every single point. And Jonathan Hellvig, he's serving, he's running up, he's jumping every point, whether he gets served or not. And so we saw fatigue add up a little bit in the Maldives last fall. Towards the end of these tournaments, when you need your max jumps, do you have enough legs to beat an Anders and Christian in the finals?
Another cracking serve. Free ball. Well, you saw exactly what they were trying to do there. Go on the option immediately. It wasn't the cleanest, but it still worked.
And Simon, I think Sweden, you never want to say that they have a set sealed up, because this is the best defensive team in beach volleyball history with Anders and Christian, but they are so far in control of this one.
Heavy cross-court swing from Anders Mol. Just get the feeling that the Norwegians are just kind of hanging around there in the background, and okay, this is how Sweden are playing right now, and it's brilliant and it's wonderful to watch, and they're romping away, but Norway are just hovering in the background and waiting for their opportunity in this match. Probably won't come in set one, not unless Mol goes on a tear up here at the net. Good serve, well controlled, and beautifully hit. Absolutely spectacular from Jonathan Hellvig, and it brings up set points.
It's a fantastic swing from Jonathan Hellvig, and I always wonder what it's like to constantly be the hunted. You know that Anders and Christian, they've had the metaphorical bullseyes on their backs the whole time. What's it like to just get the absolute best effort from every team?
Well, it's like that. 21-16 to Sweden, and the marked men have been down in set one, and the youngsters have put the pressure on. They lead the world and Olympic champions by 1-0 here in Tepic.
And Simon, I had the absolute pleasure of calling their semifinal last night against Germany's Clemens Wickler and Niels Ehlers. And after the match, a full three-set match in a tournament full of three-set matches, David Åhman, it looked like he had just had a full pot of coffee, and he said, we've been playing Norway in our last three finals, and hopefully the third time is the charm. And you could just tell how excited Sweden is for the opportunity to play the best in the game on the biggest stage, an Elite 16 gold medal match. And you just see that enthusiasm and their hunger, and just look at the way they're talking to each other in this timeout.
Now scan that QR code if you want to get hold of one of the custom designed Elite 16 playing jerseys, or go to volleyballworld.com and you can play like a pro. Head there to the website and pick up your official Beach Pro Tour athlete tops today. Well, the MC's doing a great job. The crowd loving this, but it's the youngsters that are leading. Away we go then with set two. Anders Mol and Christian Sorum, the world and Olympic champions, are getting a bit of a runaround here from the youngsters from Sweden in yellow, David Åhman and Jonathan Hellvig. And one of the telling stats when we saw the tail of the tape from that opening set is the fact that the best blocker on the planet right now, Anders Mol, hasn't got a single block to his name in this match. And that is just beautiful. Look at the pace. Oh, wow. What a recovery. Anders Mol still doesn't have a block. Goodness me, David Åhman with the finish. And Sweden now are absolutely flying in every way imaginable.
Simon, sometimes I watch them play and I wonder, what did I just see? That cover from Jonathan Hellvig, and then for him to pop up with no approach and put that much pace on the ball from about 8 feet off the net, it's just spectacular athleticism from Sweden.
Insane from the team in yellow. Oh my goodness me. Wow. Anders cannot get it on the floor at the moment. And then pulls off the most ridiculous back pokey for the point.
Is this world-class beach volleyball or what? I think, in my mind, this is the deepest the World Tour has ever been for both the men and the women, where we have two clear-cut, in my opinion, best teams in the world, and this is what we're getting. What a phenomenal 3 points we've had in this second set.
Norway on the scoreboard. Oh, he's got him. He's got him at last. There we go. Anders Mol has done his homework through set one, and he's finally stopped Hellvig.
And there you have it. You mentioned that we hadn't seen an Anders Mol block, and we should have seen about 3 already in this set. Finally gets one without being covered. And we talked about frustration management as a blocker, and Anders just managing that frustration well of having 2 spectacular blocks covered and then just having a third one to go.
Another massive swing from David Åhman. Well, remarkable stuff. You come up with a new plan, you come up with a new way of playing the sport. Well, it's only a matter of time before your opponents start to come up with ways of countering that, which Laniel and Bassero did very well in La Paz when they beat this Swedish pair. And Norway trying to find a way to adjust within the environment of this gold medal final. And the signs a little better here for the Volley Vikings from Norway.
And they're starting to wrest control of this match away from Sweden. What an excellent start to the second set from Sweden, but you're seeing Anders start to assert himself a lot more. He was the X factor in last night's semifinal blowout, and again, he could be, as always, the X factor in any match he's in, because there is no single player, in my opinion, in all of sport, not just beach volleyball, not just indoor volleyball, in all of sport, that can take over a match like Anders Mol can.
Well, he's going to need to do it with Sweden in this kind of form. They've showed us every single facet of why they have become one of the best teams in the world so quickly. The speed, the power, the skills, it's all there. And Jonathan Hellvig is having an absolute feast at the net with his blocking.
And his blocking in the line, with the way he's sealing up and taking his job and taking his space, that frees up Åhman to operate and roam free in the backcourt, because he knows that no one's sneaking anything line past Jonathan Hellvig.
Good hands again. Got to come. Oh, wow. And Anders Mol strikes back. I think we can safely say the blue touch paper has been lit in this final.
And when Norway starts to get pushed a little bit and they start to get their a little backs against the wall, that is when Anders comes to shine. No one plays with a better sense of urgency than Anders.
Wide. Åhman shaped to hit. Mol got in his face, and David Åhman stuck it out of court.
And you could tell from the body language from Åhman that the second he hit it, he knew that that wasn't the right decision. He tried to take off way too much. Anders was in the line and Christian was in the line. That's one where Åhman, if he would he have jump set Hellvig, it would have been an open net opportunity.
Just wide from Mol. He's really going for his serves in this game. He knows he can't allow Sweden to have too much ball control. Otherwise they will rip you to pieces. Mol is the service target at the moment for Sweden, and Hellvig has reached right into the angle to shut him down.
And it's so admirable what Sweden is doing, is that they won that first set going all at Christian, and just for good measure, they're testing Anders, and Jonathan Hellvig is getting the better of Anders Mol, one of the best offensive players in the world.
Here we go again. Oh, wow. Just got that accelerated arm swing through the ball in time.
There's always more angle. Anders gets blocked, swinging angle. just goes right back to it, a little bit sharper, a little bit harder.
What a fantastic game. There's the jump set, and that is brilliantly done. Now, what impressed me when Lenil and Basro managed to beat this Swedish pair was the fact they did not go for the jump set at all. Every single time, Basro just moved out to the hitter. Whereas here, we're getting Moll honouring that potential option, and it's just slowing him up in getting out to the player.
And it's been interesting to watch how teams have adapted to what is a decidedly unique style of play in that they jump set virtually every time. And most teams,
wow,
that's 80%, usually just track the hitter and they leave David Åhman to go one-on-one with the defender, and that's what Clement Wickler and Nils Ehlers have done. It was just Wickler on Åhman for the option. But Anders is one of the few blockers in the world who is mobile enough and athletic enough and dynamic enough where he can actually act like a middle and take both Åhman and Hellvig at the same time.
Massive jump serve and a massive block, and there we go. That is one of the world's best at his very best.
And I think what we might see from Norway is they might start attacking Åhman because he's optioning so well, and that they might just want to, they would prefer to deal with him on the third contact rather than the second. And so we might see Anders start to attack that the right side Åhman a little bit more.
Too good. Just too good from Sweden.
And they haven't buckled. Every time we've seen Norway get a point and Anders start to get that blocking momentum, Sweden doesn't let them go on a run. We always talk about how volleyball is a game of runs. Well, Sweden's doing an excellent job of putting a stopper in it right away.
Just got sand-sharped on the jump there, so the ball's still alive. And Sweden score again and forge a 2-point lead again.
And how many different ways can we see Jonathan Hellvig take care of his line blocking duties? We've seen him block line shots. We've seen him tip line shots. We've seen him block line swings. And now we're seeing him get up, get the short poke over his line block. Just a tremendous display of blocking and just taking your space. And that frees up Åhman to be the best defender that he is.
Work, but couldn't get the angle on it to beat Sorum. And then Sorum comes back with one of his sweet cross-court shots. There was a great shot of the Swedish coaches just behind their men on that end on a moment ago, looking on and looking pretty happy with things at the moment.
And it's a rare thing to see the Swedish coaches happy. No matter how well Sweden wins, they always think they can do a little bit better, and that is perhaps why they're one of the fastest rising teams in the world.
Lovely, really lovely. You don't have to bounce every single shot. If you can just get a nice crisp contact on it, send it to the perimeters, it's undefendable.
And I think that's where Hellvig is actually a step better than Åhman, is that he knows when to take a little gas off. If that were Åhman, he would have tried to bounce that through the sand.
Oh dear. And Moll tried to put it through the net there. It's another point gone begging. And Sweden now with a 3-point lead at the technical timeout. This is looking very, very good for Swedish gold.
And Simon, I can feel my nerves getting going for Sweden. I can't imagine how it feels to have the best team in the world, the best team of the last 6 years, one of the best teams in history on the ropes, 12-9. You're 9 points away from a gold medal, 9 points away from beating the team that you know you will need to beat to win the biggest titles in this sport. This is where we will see what Sweden is made of, and I'm a believer in this Swedish team, Simon.
Where do Norway go from here then? How do they turn this around?
It has to be the serving. With Sweden, the biggest trick with Sweden is to limit their jump setting, is to limit their optionability, and that's something that Norway, traditionally, if there's been one weak spot for Norway, it's that they're not the best serving team, and especially at altitude, they're not going to be the best serving team because Sorum, he has a standing float. Anders Moll, you see him starting to open up that jump serve, but Norway's never needed a good serve. They almost prefer it when teams are in system because then Anders can go full Anders, but this team is the exception to that rule because when they're in system, they have two attackers at the same time at all times.
First things first, they need a side out, they've got it. Slapped cross court by Anders Moll. And we'll see what they've got coming out of the technical timeout. The Volley Vikings need to find something here, because Sweden at the moment are in control of this gold medal final here in Tepic. Looks like he's clearing the runway for another absolute hammer of a jump serve. Has to take a little off it. Option is brilliant, just too good.
And sometimes, Simon, as you said, it's just too good. It was a perfect pass. And to describe how difficult it is to hit that ball, there's so much backspin on that. So for David Åhman to counteract that and still put that kind of pace on it, it's astounding.
He's got it. He's on it. Massive chance taken. And Sweden are running away with this match. And the Volley Vikings at the moment are in real trouble.
And I never want to say it out loud that Norway is in trouble, because every time I think they're in trouble, they come back and not only win, but win relatively commandingly. But they do look like they're in trouble, and Sweden is playing some of the best beach volleyball I've ever seen them play.
They are taking it to Anders Moll, and he hasn't got the answers at the moment. It's another fine play, and they are thinking their way through this, and Norway seem powerless to stop them. Timeout then to the Volley Vikings. 5 points down in set 2.
And you just see the quarterbacking and play calling. I don't know who is the de facto captain of this Swedish team, whether it's Åhman, who's calling a lot of these plays, or whether it's Hellvig at the net calling these plays, or whether it's more of a collaborative type thing, but they're just winning the chess match. We've seen them mix up their blocking calls, mix up their timing, mix up their serving, and it's Anders Moll for the first time in as long as I can remember seems stumped on offense. He has no answers for what Sweden is doing defensively.
Well, the Swedish pair, second in Cape Town, second at the Doha Elite 16 to start this season, and then by their own high standards bombed out in La Paz last weekend in Mexico for a 9th place finish. They're up against a team that have been dominant. They won in Paris, they won in Cape Town, they won the Beach Pro Tour finals, and then took the Elite 16 in Doha. And Sorum, at the moment, on paper, are invincible. But Sweden putting together a fantastic series here in this final. He's got him again. Oh, it's just wide. It's just wide, and Norway managed to wrestle the ball back from the Swedish pair, but it's going to be one hell of a fight to get back in this game for the team in blue.
And when's the last time we've seen a clean kill from Anders and Christian? They just had to work so hard for a simple side out where Anders had 2 huge swings, both of them getting touched.
Brilliant. And there's that mobility you talked about. He went first of all with the jump set and then made his way all the way across to Hellvig to shut him down. Brilliant from Moll.
And not only that, but to get to Hellvig, he's jumping right, and then his hands are counteracting that by dragging left while staying shaped and pressed over the net to get a block. It's truly the most dynamic blocker this game's ever seen.
Great work. They've chosen to go at Hellvig for the moment, but when they do, it brings Åhman's option hitting into play.
And Åhman's doing a really nice job of mixing up the attacks, going with the cut shot there. We've seen him, he's been mostly swinging on the options. That one taking a little bit of pace off, learning a little bit of lessons from last night's semifinal win over Germany, where he tried to go a little bit too hard too often.
Unbelievable. Oh, that might have been going out. Sorum played it, and it's under control. Oh, great work on his knees to make the overhand play, Moll, and then chops it out to the corner. And it's brilliant work again from Norway. We bigged them up at the start of this match, the Volley Vikings, and quite rightly so, but it feels to me, Travis, from Sweden, like this is one of the most complete performances I've seen from them.
It's a tremendous performance, and this is where Norway, I've seen them take matches that look similar to this, where all the momentum's going the other way, and they can just flip it in an instant.
Here we go then. The test for Sweden is on. They pass that first little question, or that first exam paper, with a good option hit for 17-13. And every point they score now on side out is a point closer to goal.
And I love that maturity from Sweden. You could see them arguing with the ref on that last point about the legality of Anders Moll's hand dig. It was totally legal, but they just were questioning it. And sometimes when you do that, you can get a little bit distracted. No distractions there as Åhman with a really nice option swing. I like them serving Anders deep. I don't mind that miss. They've missed very few. Their risk-reward ratio in serving has been just what you'd want.
Sorum sticks with Hellvig. Hellvig very deliberately passes that all the way to the tape. And it's hammered away again by Åhman. And at the moment, Norway are struggling to stop Sweden here.
It's the mentality of David Åhman. Of all the things that I can be impressed with this right side defender on Sweden, it is just his mental strength.
Good block. Great recovery from Sorum and a wonderful set, but that's brilliant defence from Åhman. Another point chance for Sweden, not taken. And Norway, once again, get out of a very tricky spot.
How many rallies could you possibly see? There are only two teams, I think, who could give you a rally like the one we just saw. So many scramble touches, so many deft handsets from Anders there. We're fading away off one leg, backwards. Just such good athleticism. But again, they have to work so hard just to get a simple side out.
Goes with the lollipop. Hellvig takes the option here. Wow, I'm not sure about that. Moll wasn't quite looking in the right place there, and he was convinced Hellvig was going to play a ball that wasn't hittable.
And to be totally honest, I didn't think that ball was settable because you saw Åhman where he passed it, and with the tempo, it was over Hellvig's head. It was a mistake of a pass. Credit to Hellvig for getting out, taking that back step, faking the option, and then getting David Åhman up for the big bouncing swing. 2 points away from the gold medal.
And there's one of them, bang on the baseline for another ace. And Hellvig takes his team to 2015, 5 gold medal points for the young Swedes.
This is special. Simon, what we're watching is one of the most special performances I've seen from a team in a long time, where this is similar actually to what Anders and Christian did in their semifinal last night, where it was just so unquestionably dominant.
Forget La Paz. Sweden are back in business. It's out. It's the championship. It's gold for David Åhman and Jonathan Hellvig. The number 2 seeds from Sweden have beaten the Volley Vikings from Norway. And Moll and Sorum are down in the final for the first time this season. Sweden win in 2 straight sets. Unbelievable.
Simon, unbelievable is the word. I still almost can't believe it because I've watched Norway come back to win those so many times and time again. And coming into this match, their record in World Tour gold medal matches was 21-2. Their record in total gold medal matches was 29-2. When you take it to the CEV, they were 8-0 in gold medal matches. To beat Anders and Christian in a gold medal match, it's akin to a miracle. But there was nothing miraculous about that. That is just a phenomenal beach volleyball team playing phenomenal.